Welcome back to M Hood Fishing, everybody. Yesterday was 100% rain. It was rain, right? But it was not like this heavy rain, not buckets full of cats and dogs, not that kind of rain at all. Just miserable 100% drizzle. And that's what it was this morning. But we have a break. We were supposed to have like the same kind of day today as yesterday, but we're just not. It's not great, this break. It's without rain. We might see a little bit of a mist here, a little bit of a drizzle, but what we're going to see that's not great is wind up to 15 miles per hour or worse. Like, it's gusting in certain places, 20, 25. We got gale warnings, right? Right now we got a chicken warning. I had to come this way to do something anyway, so I thought we would stop. It is about 2:30 right now. Check out this ditch. Since it wasn't pounding down rain, we weren't seeing we probably were not seeing a lot of draining going on. This is not as dirty as it could have been. It's not super clean, never is, but it's not absolute chocolate milk. Let's see if we can get something. Definitely way too windy up here, but I'm hoping that down there it's a little bit sheltered. I've got all these choices, all these options. This is probably going to be a panfish video of a particular kind, but we are going to try the shaky head for bass right off to see if that'll work. Look at this rainbow water. This slick is coming from in there. Stuff like that happens when rain is draining off of parking lots and streets. That's where that oil slick is coming from. Originally comes from people's cars, stuff leaking after they park, and then it gets in here because this is draining the neighborhoods, draining the streets, the parking lots in town. It's one of the points where that stuff is draining from. There are other points on this ditch, and then it goes this way into a bayou. Little blustery down here, a little windy. Question is, will artificials be very productive? Possibly. It is a shaky head, it is a finesse worm. Gotcha. What do I got? Oh, I was not expecting this to work. Look at that. There we go. That is nice. Whoa. I really didn't think we were going to get a bass. I thought this was going to be a straight up panfish video. Oh, but it's turning into something else. Yeah, you're right. In there is what it's turning into. You know, I did that for a while, but that's not working. Maybe I could do it for a while longer and have it work. Maybe we just got lucky here. Probably. Gotcha. Again, same. Whoa. Come on. Ah! Man, what? I shouldn't have done that. Oh, dang it. Son of a... We didn't break anything. We were trying to be... Oh. We were... Yeah. Oh. It's buried. It's buried. Come on, come up out of there. There we go, little guy. Before I go, I want to see what we can get out from here. I've been here and there dropping the shaky head down there. Let's try just a bit of worm on this little jig head. This is a 132 ounce jig head. I'm going to break off a bit of red worm here. Just going to thread it up there a bit and then leave a little bit hanging off like that. This is a little tiny ice fishing rod. It's an ultralight.
I believe I have 6-pound test on here. It's monofilament I have on there. Oh. I turned the camera off to go grab the stool that I'm sitting on. I just left that worm down there. What do we got? Oh, not sure what you are quite yet, but you are big enough to eat. Yeah, cichlid. Not quite gonna fit into what we're cooking, but we will keep that for sure. There we go, gotcha. What is it? What is it? Is that a fish? Oh, let me see. That fish has a camper shell. Oh, I don't think this is going to work out. It's one of the problems with doing this. Yep, there we go. I have maybe an hour left of light, though out here it seems like I have 5 minutes because the cloud cover has gotten thicker, the weather's actually falling apart, the wind is picking up, we're getting that mist is coming back, but it's not a deal breaker quite yet. But I am sick of sitting up there hitting turtles, sitting in the wind, so we're going to come down here and spend a few more minutes before we go home. And by the title of this video, you might be expecting me to be cooking for King Charles, but we're not quite cooking for him yet. But we're gonna see if we can cook something for King Charles that he would eat. Probably wouldn't, but maybe. We got the big one here. Yeah. So I'm a little weirded out because it's a Pepsi can. I thought it was against the law to drink Pepsi down here. I didn't literally think that. But yeah, look. Oh, they didn't drink it. Good on you and bad on you. Good on you for just chunking this garbage, but bad on you for chunking this garbage where you chunked it. Yeah, you're right. And we pierced the heck out of that can. So I'm a little creeped out because now I feel like the next thing is going to be a boot. And this is not a Canadian cooking video, so I don't know what a boot we're talking about. I couldn't even get that right. I don't know what a boot we're talking about. A boot? A boot? What a boot? What about it? Yeah, on that note, I think we will go. We'll take that Pepsi can home with us. I don't know if you've noticed, but King Charles is not a fat ass, so one fish should work. Back many years ago, kings ate a lot more than one fish at a time, right? Like they always had piles of food. So comes the term, he eats like a king. A lot of this video is inspired by that, because people have said that to me. Man, you eat like a king. I don't really think I do, but maybe it's a fair comment. I mean, because I cook my food, and I don't think kings ever cook their own food. So it's not all the inspiration here. So King Charles, what kind of fish does he eat? Probably salmon. But do you think he always eats fancy food? Probably not, because the reality of this is I'm not making something I think is fit for a king. I'm making something that common people in the UK eat. I'm just making it better, but it's a meal. So it'll be recognizable partly and then different partly. And I think King Charles probably doesn't always eat fancy food. Now, do you, buddy? I bet you don't. I bet sometimes you just want something like mash and peas, right? With something with it. Maybe bangers and mash. Maybe King Charles is so down to earth that on occasion he's eating beans on toast. He might be hiding in the broom closet eating that. Maybe not. Maybe way out in the open like everybody sees. Maybe he's proud to eat beans on toast. I don't know. But I do eat beans on toast. But we are not doing beans on toast tonight. Maybe tomorrow, but not tonight. So I'm pretty certain that King Charles does fish or has fished. If I'm correct, I believe I am. I believe it's trout and salmon. I believe he likes to fly fish once in a while, if I remember correctly. I think I do remember him doing that. I bet he would partake in fishing for bass. Some people who fly fish don't do anything else, but you can get them on the fly, so that's why I'm certain that it is not outside of the possibility. Definitely within the realm of reality. So is this weather. It is a lot like English weather, so what we're doing tonight is quite fitting, and I'll talk more about it, but we got to get there, and we're going to get there now. It's all about listening to the sound coming out of that. It's not going to whistle. It's going to quietly murmur a hiss. Hear it? I bet you thought it would be tea. No. Coffee, yeah. Because I need to supercharge the tank. I'm feeling like I'm slowing down. I never let this water boil, because if I let the water boil, it's going to be too hot and burn the coffee. It's going to scald it. It will taste horrible. There we go. Almost didn't have enough room for the cow, but there's some room in there for the cow. Let's get this field down. Delicious. Didn't burn it this time. Yeah, you're right. So when my hair, I'm going to talk about my hair. When my hair grows to a certain length, when it gets to a certain length when I'm growing it out, it starts to curl up like I'm Dutch. And I'm really not. Maybe there's a little bit of Northern European blood in me, but there's a lot more very Northern European blood in me. It's so northern it's not European, but yeah, so I do have a lot of Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian. However, most of my DNA is English. Yeah, most of that DNA from England is from Yap Yap country. Yeah, you're right, my lover. I was going to start with the sides, but we're going to start with the side kicks first. Reach deep in here. About time to re-up that. Feed the dogs. So, when I was growing up, I did not know as much about my DNA as I do now. But when I was growing up in Texas in the 80s and the 90s, a lot of the 80s, I watched a lot of public television, Channel 13 in Dallas, where I'm actually from. Wow, I gotta go deep in here. This time to go to the store. Yeah, you're right, you dogs eat too much. On public TV back in the 80s and 90s, and probably still to this day. Well, definitely still to this day, because I watch PBS on Prime. So back in the day, you could watch all kinds of programming without commercials unless it was a pledge drive, right? They had a lot of old school British
programming and some programming from other places as well. A lot of it was British comedy back in the day, like are you being served? I think, yeah, Are You Being Served? You know, a bunch of other ones, and soap operas. I'm trying to remember. It's the science fiction stuff that I remember the most. So I grew up watching all that, like Blake's Seven, Doctor Who, Red Dwarf. And I developed what we call a fondness for that. I'm not just an angler, I'm an Anglophile. That's what I developed. Yeah, you're right. So I have a really keen interest in English stuff, but not just that. A lot of people already know this or assume this. But yeah, I am a very eccentric person. I have my likes and my dislikes, and I don't really care what people think about anything about me, because I'm showing you myself, and I'm not really chasing anything. I'm not trying to show you what I'm not to chase what you want or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? But yeah, you're right. We gotta feed the dogs.
You want milky beef? Milky beef? Milky beef? Milky beef?
Little milk, a little more water. We got watery milk. And now we're gonna
Is that good? Is that good? Is that the bomb? Yeah, you're right. Is that good, Mr. Yes?
not really into science fiction anymore, but there's some things I was into then when I was a kid that I'm still into. Masterpiece theater, mystery. So I didn't really expect to fish today. I thought it was going to rain all day. So I planned on watching on Prime first or second episode of the first season of Flowers. It's kind of a drama comedy. Each episode is about 24 minutes long. And then I was thinking about watching season 2 of Murder in Sweden, and then possibly the first episode of season 1 of The Level. Okay, 2 of those are English, 1 of those is Swedish. And you know, when you're watching stuff, a lot of things, and then you see people eating, you start to crave what they're eating. It's called like psychosomatica, like when you see someone light up or, you know, crack a beer or something, and all of a sudden you want that. You see someone eating Oreos. When I see people drinking Pepsi, I don't automatically want Pepsi. I hear a coonhound, a red bone, complaining in the other room, and I automatically want to go tell her to stop complaining, but we will let it be. She probably wants to lay down where Yaz is laying down, or he's too close to one of her toys or something. So when you're watching British programming, you might start craving beans on toast if you see that a lot, because you're probably, and you might be wondering, like, what is a salamander? Because you'll see people making cheesy toast in the salamander. A lot of commercial kitchens in the US have a salamander, but in the UK you'll see a lot of people, you know, their home kitchens, their stove will have a salamander. A salamander is kind of like a toaster oven that is above your range, above your stovetop. It would be up here, way up here, come on, way up there, and you put stuff in there to toast it. It's an old school thing. I don't know if modern kitchens in the UK still have that. Okay, we want to, yeah. Here we go. English food. Now let's talk about that. It gets a really bad rap and people think it's boring. They think it's just boiled stuff and boiled beef, boiled vegetables. Do you guess what we're making? So it's all about the sides. It's also about the fish, right? But the sides are important to this meal. This is what I was going to make for myself tonight. You know, I'm just like any person in the world, but for a lot of people, it's an American thing, right? You're gonna make a meal and you're gonna sit down and watch TV. I'm watching the laptop though. So we're making mash and peas, and that might sound not exotic, like totally unexotic. It might sound like something you would have yourself, but it is one of the most common combinations in the UK, mash and peas or chip and peas. So what was I going to have in place of the fish that we're having tonight? I was going to have mash and peas with fried eggs is what I was going to do. But now we're not having the eggs. This is even popular in Australia. Now in some places in the UK and in Australia, what they would do is have mashed potatoes and mashed peas, and they would have that with a meat pie in the UK as well as in Australia and New Zealand, and probably some other places part of the Commonwealth, or used to be a part of the Commonwealth. You know, they were a part of the British Empire. They would have bangers and mash. That's like sausages, right? So just like here, there, this is like the common man's main sides. Mash and peas. Sometimes the peas are mashed, sometimes they're not. I don't really mash my peas. That coffee's not really working. I reached in that drawer to get a rubber band and I pulled out a plastic spoon instead. There we go. This combination is so popular in the UK and other places that were a part of the Commonwealth that you can get it at restaurants, at cafes and diners. You'd be going down to the chippy and getting it as well. But you see, it's not always mash and peas. Sometimes it's chips and peas. They don't say French fries, they say chips. They call French fries chips, so it's chips and peas. And this combination will have a lot of things with it. Sometimes eggs. You know, a lot of people when they're at the house, when they're having their tea, when they're having dinner, they call it having their tea. So they sit down for their tea and they're gonna have mash and peas with fish fingers, chicken strips, or eggs, fried eggs, or maybe steak, pork chops if they like that, if they eat pork. And some people might just have it mash and peas. You go to a restaurant, you could get mash and peas and pie, mash and peas and this, mash and peas and that, or just mash and peas right there in front of you on the plate or the bowl. Down at the chippy, you'd get mash and peas with fish if they have mash and peas. One interesting fact about the UK is that they do not have largemouth bass there. They do have pike, perch, trout, salmon. There are various species like that that you can catch with artificials, freshwater fish, and then they do have sea bass, but they do not have this. But definitely they could do this with sea bass. There's a lot of fish that you can catch there that our recipe tonight will work, and it should work beautifully with our authentic British sides: boiled potatoes and peas. Charles himself might not be able to like go up to Scotland and catch a bass, but he can go up to Scotland and catch a brownie, a rainbow, a grayling, possibly salmon, and do this recipe. He might do that. I'm sure that he does cook or has cooked for himself before, but definitely could have someone do this for himself. I know he's an active dude. He likes to walk out in the wild without people around him, you know, without security detail. Back in the day, if we were in the UK fishing, we'd have to do it on the down low because they would get us for poaching. Like cut off my hands or something. messed that one up. It's too cold in here finally. Like down here, the butter usually stays real soft when it's out for a little bit. Not today. That's better. Got to get this butter on both sides. This is probably my favorite blackening seasoning. Just like the butter, both sides get this as well. I've been leaving the skin on for years, in case you're wondering. More vitamins that way. Which bit do you think I should put in? This bit or that bit? Let's be a little health conscious and put that bit in with a little bit more. Little Himalayan pink sea salt. You ever been to the Himalayan seas? Yeah, probably in the UK at a diner or somewhere. You're probably not going to have the skin in there. And it's probably going to be a lot smoother, maybe even whipped. We are going to come up with something a little more chunky. First I got to get it somewhat mashed, and then we're going to add that special ingredient. This I just do by feeling. I put a little bit in there, not much to start, about that. And I start stirring, mixing, mashing. At first it looks like I put too much milk in there, but trust me, I probably didn't put enough. Actually, that may have been the right amount. Of course, if I was using some mechanical device or wanted to spend an hour doing what I'm doing, I would need to put more milk in there. I've seen some people just go way crazy, like go straight to town making mashed potatoes, like Gordon Ramsay, putting nutmeg in there, which I think is, yeah, oh, okay, you do that. I'm not going to do that. So, yeah, you could go nuts and add a bunch of things, but for me, in my house, I like it humble. Just a little salt, a little butter. What am I saying? A lot of butter and salt. But you know, there's a limit to that. And in the end, we'll put a little black pepper on it. But this is it. Just simple. Milk, butter, and salt. Alright, so if you guessed that I'm blackening this fish, you are correct. I've got that pan really hot. That did not take long at all. We got to get it off that heat there. Just mashing peas to start. So I bet you anything King Charles would eat this if someone else cooked it besides me, because I feel like I didn't do the best job I could have. But yeah, you're right. It is smoky in here. Let me tell you something. Wow. I just absolutely love blackened fish. Bass, catfish, trout, redfish. I love blackened redfish. And I love mashing peas. It's just a simple, humble meal. Add something to go with it, like the main course is the fish. Really, it's all one thing, right? Look at that. Yeah, you're right. I tell you what. I know it looks American, but there's a reason why it looks American, because a lot of food that we eat has its origins in the UK. not all of it, because we are a melting pot. I was about to say we are a molten pot. We're a malted melting pot, because sometimes it's molten, right? Sometimes it's hot, very, very hot here. I mean, socially. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. And I will see you next time.